sticky bomb. Fire in your hole!
What's the word, ladies and gentlemen? This is Andrew, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It? Now, today we'll be talking about Fletcher, or Fletcher, as he says. You know, everyone's favorite Nigerian combat engineer, though I wonder, how many Nigerian combat engineers I would know anyways. But yeah, in this video we'll be talking about his stats, weapons, abilities, overall playstyle, and ultimately whether or not Fletcher is worth unlocking. Is he worth those 50,000 juicy credits? Is he worth the $10 USD? Now, first off, Fletcher is an engineer, an objective specialist, which means he'll be able to do those objectives way faster than most mercenaries. For stats, his HP is 110 and his movement speed is 420. What is interesting is that he is ever so slightly faster than most other mercenaries in his HP class. Mercenaries like Phantom or Bushwhacker, they have 110 HP, but they only run at 410 movement speed. Now, for the ability slot, he gets sticky bombs, which are awesome. They're just the most amazing things ever. He gets 3 of these at a time, and each of them will deal 100 damage maximum. Now, you will have to detonate these bombs with the detonator. They don't go off automatically, but this allows you some flexibility as you can stick multiple bombs on a target or area before executing a timed explosion. This allows for tactics like setting up sticky bomb traps or even sticking multiple enemies before detonating them. These bombs will be Fletcher's main source of damage. If you're not using them as Fletcher's primary weapon, his main damage dealer, you are really missing out. They do require a bit of skill to pull off, and they may not always be the most effective weapons to use in every single situation. If you get caught in a bad duel, they probably aren't the most reliable thing to use to save yourself, but they are extremely deadly if you're used in the right scenarios. Now, for primaries, Fletcher gets an interesting selection. You can choose between the Arnold 12 or the Holland's 880 shotguns or the Blishlock SMG. Now, I'm not going to get too in-depth here, guys, but the Holland's offers decent damage per shot, 88 damage compared to the 78 from the Arnold. But the Arnold does offer double the effective range of any other shotgun. It's essentially a sniper shotgun. I don't want to get into which shotgun is better, that would be for another video, but luckily for us, the choice is easy. Most, if not all of the loadouts for Fletcher with the Hollands aren't that great, at least in the game's current state. So guys, be sure to check the date of this video's posting. Now, the Blishlock is actually a very interesting weapon for Fletcher. It offers decent damage over range, which opens up so many possibilities for him. I'll go ahead and post the stats here, and while the Blishlock is typically considered, the worst SMG, because the choices you get with Fletcher for primaries, I would say this one's probably my favorite, as I'm not like a huge fan of shotguns at all. Now, for secondaries, this is where it's at, guys. This is where you want to look. You have 3 options. You have the Simeon revolver. Ew. Well, not ill. I love the revolver, but come on, compared to the Empire 9 or the Tolan MP machine pistols, it's no-brainer. I would just want to say right now that you'll always want the machine pistols for Fletcher. In fact, I would argue that the Empire 9 is probably the best secondary, hands down, for Fletcher. It has an amazing fire rate of 858 RPM, which is its main selling point. With an RPM of 858, the Empire 9 has higher RPM than the Hawkfear SMG, which only has 812. Now, this makes the Empire 9 an amazing, very easy to use finisher weapon. The high RPM allows you to be very consistent, at least damage output wise. Even if you don't have the best aim, you just kind of can spray around a little bit. It goes very well with your sticky bombs as a finisher weapon. Now, moving on to loadouts, you're typically looking for augments like quick draw or double time. Tough and unshakable are also nice. But lock-on, the augment doesn't seem to have any use for Fletcher, at least currently. So with all that said, let's take a look at the loadouts here. My favorite ones are going to be the BL-33 Standard Operative and the A-31 Guardian Close Assault. However, on a more broad scale, I would say that honestly any loadout with a machine pistol would be eons better than a loadout with the revolver, no matter what the augments are. Now for playstyle, this one's pretty tricky. Fletcher's arguably one of the most difficult mercenaries to learn, but he's extremely rewarding once you get the hang of him. I'll go into some basics in this video, but Sniff actually did a 2-hour one-on-one Fletcher coaching session with me that I actually ended up condensing into a very informationally packed 30-minute video. I'll go ahead and post it here, and we pretty much cover step by step how to be extremely effective with Fletcher. As far as basic technique and playstyle, you know, just the basics here in this video. He's essentially a hit and run mercenary. You'll be flanking a lot with them, running around with their stickies out, trying to get behind enemy lines and act as a decongestant around choke points with your bombs. Now, obviously you are an engineer, so you'd be very strong in doing objectives. So, of course, in your little flanking adventures, be sure to do those secondary objectives to help out your team. You won't be doing too much with your guns, you know, but when you do, you want to be as accurate as you can with them. You know, whether or not you're using the shotguns or the Blishlock, because they are generally lower RPM weapons, you want to be able to land every shot. Make every shot count. If you miss the first shot with a shotgun, it gets really sticky. I'm not using the word sticky because I'm reviewing Fletcher, but anyways, now when you use the machine pistol, you can spray a little bit more, but to be a true killer, you will want to practice landing your headshots, as the machine pistols are still secondaries. You know, they have lower DPS than the primary weapons. Now, you want to use your sticky bombs as your primary weapons, you know. Use them to damage the enemies. That'll be your main source of damage. If you kill them, great. If you cripple them, just go ahead and finish them off with one of your guns. Now, the exception to primarying stickies is if you get caught in a 1v1 duel. You know, the stickies are pretty tough to land on moving targets that are shooting at you, so if they do catch you in a duel, what you want to do is to use or abuse corners, you know, pop out, throw a sticky, explode it on them, and then run out with your gun and finish them off. I wouldn't necessarily use stickies 100% in a duel straight up. Again, if you guys want more tips and tricks on Fletcher, I'll be posting a complete tutorial slash masterclass, if you want to call it that, by Sniff and I. So, is Fletcher worth it? Well, this is a very tough question to answer. He is definitely not for everybody. Let's just put that out there right now. He is definitely not for everybody. He requires very good positioning, you know, good game sense, good aim, some wall jumping knowledge, and most of all, reaction time. You know, he isn't your typical Merc where you're just running around with your gun out. He's more of like a trickster type mercenary, a hit and run type mercenary. You know, you're relying heavily on mind games and careful planning. Personally, I didn't like him until recently, and after I had some extensive practice with him to learn his playstyle. However, once I got his timings down and somewhat proficient with him, I found him extremely rewarding to play. He's definitely not the easiest mercenary to be a pure killer with, but he does offer some extreme utility. So, is Fletcher worth it? I would recommend waiting until, you know, free rotation comes around to see if he is for you. Because the last thing you want to do is to spend 50k credits or $10 USD and then get frustrated or not have the patience to sit down and learn him, or maybe just not even like his playstyle overall, and then have some extreme buyer's remorse. However, coming from someone who has actually finally sat down and worked out how to play him and got somewhat decent with him, I actually enjoy his playstyle. So yes, I would say Fletcher is totally worth it. Again, he isn't for everyone. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys in determining whether or not Fletcher is worth buying for you. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. You know, let's shoot for 70 likes on this video. And if this is the first video you are seeing of mine, be sure to check out some of my other videos. I do tons of Dirty Bomb content. And to my subscribers, if there's a topic you would like me to cover, or even another game you would like to see me play, let me know in the comments. And as always, I will see you guys in the next episode.